Hey everybody, welcome to another Probably Private. I'm Catherine Jarmel, and today we're going to dive into how do you serve large quantized models on your GPU machine. And to do so, we're going to be talking about Llama CPP, which is basically the best library ever. If you're new here and you like serving local models or you're interested in serving local models, check out my video, and I was really excited for the amount of views and likes and feedback in the VLLM for serving models. Check that out. But today we're going to talk about Llama CPP. You've probably used Llama CPP without even knowing it. So if you've used things like Llama, you've definitely used Llama CPP. Numerous of the AI vendors use forks or parts of Llama CPP, so you certainly use parts of it there, right? And if you have any kind of like AI apps on your phone, there's a good chance they might have Llama CPP running somewhere or something that they use Llama CPP to help produce. Here it is. It's part of a really tiny org. So here's Llama CPP. If you haven't checked out their GitHub page, you can just tell, 16,000 forks. You're doing something right. You know what I mean? So Llama CPP, of course, they have a quick start guide for getting everything set up. They package binaries for running Llama CPP on different types of architectures and different types of computers. And we'll get more into that. But basically, it's a really fast, in my opinion, also really easy way to get started serving models locally on something like your GPU or even your silicon chip on your MacBook or whatever accelerated hardware you're thinking of. And the more nerdy you get into hardware, so the more you want to kind of try out a non-NVIDIA chip, or you want to try out some different types of architectures, or you want to try out the newest chip, the more I would suggest going away from some of the other paradigms and moving towards something like Llama CPP, because it just has that amount of extensibility, that amount of community that I promise you, whatever pains you have in the initial configuring it for your machine are going to pay off dividends in the fact that once you get it running, you can just run so many different quantized models. So we'll take a look. Llama CPP is using GGML, which is kind of a core linear algebra machine learning library. And so GGML kind of comes shipped within those. And that also helps run Whisper CPP, which we'll take a quick little look at today, which if you're recording audio and you want that transcribed, and let's say the audio is sensitive, I would recommend running it on your local compute and using Whisper CPP. And I even have Whisper CPP running on this now 3-year-old MacBook Air. It's not even a Pro, right? If I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. And the other cool thing about Llama CPP is they have this kind of manifesto, and they have really this approach. And I know I'm gushing fangirl now because that's how I feel about Llama CPP, but it's about minimalness, it's about open core, and it's about exploring and having fun. And I just think that is magical. If this video ever reaches anybody who is a core contributor, thank you very much for your work. Okay. And if you start to get into this stuff, I highly recommend checking out the AI Plumbers content from FOSDEM. I had a chance to hang out at FOSDEM this past year, and the vibe and the knowledge in the AI Plumbers community was massive and super impressive. And thanks to that community as well. Okay, enough talking. Let's try to get Llama CPP running. So a few tips for getting started. Number one, what I'm going to recommend you do is if you are comfortable in a terminal and you've maybe done some makefile stuff before, I'm going to recommend that you actually compile Llama CPP to your machine. Why do I say that? It's because for me, the package binaries I noticed were not as capable as compiling it to my exact GPU architecture. Yes, did they work? Or did they work as well? No. And two, it means that once you know what works with the compiler flags and other stuff like this, you can recompile every time there's a new Llama CPP release, right? And of course, you could just reinstall a new binary, but maybe if you're using a prepackaged binary, maybe at some point in time it breaks because it's not actually compiled on your machine. So if that sounds super scary, start with a prepackaged binary and then work your way. In the blog post on Llama CPP, I'm going to share what helped me, some posts that helped me. I'll actually also link them here. Because, for example, I had to change some of the C flags, some other things to get it working on my machine. But really, it's a trial and error. If you use Claude or something like this, could probably figure it out for you, right? I think it's the best because this means that the package is compiled for your machine. Once you get it compiled, let me show you. You're going to have something like this. I've, of course, changed everything to execute at some point in time during my build, but you're going to have your build bin of all of these different things that you can run. So you can run Llama debug, you can run Llama CLI, you can run Llama bench, you can run Llama lookups, right? These are all different tests GGUF, so tests quantized files. These are all things that you can run that come pre-installed as part of Llama CPP and allow you to then test out new models, take a look at things, also debug what's happening. And that can, I think, be really useful. First, let's just get like, what's your hello world? So your hello world, once you're running this, is you're going to have to get your Hugging Face account set up on your computer. So you get Hugging Face Hub installed, and then you link it to your account by putting a token in your environment variables. And then Llama CPP, if it needs your token, now some repos are open, but if it needs your token, it will automatically go download these models. So you will call something like this Llama CLI, which is a Llama command line interface. And you can pass it something like the Hugging Face URL. So this is literally just the same as huggingface.com/unsauce. So these URLs are at the top of all of the Hugging Face pages. You're going to copy it there. One quirk, if you're using quantized, you need to put this colon between the original model name and then what quantization you're using. And let me just show you this for a second. I have, for the unsoft models, this is Qwen3Coder Next. What I have is I have literally my GPU in my profile, and then it will tell me, yeah, don't run this, don't run this. You maybe could fit this on your GPU, but here's things that you definitely can fit on your GPU. And if you have multiple GPUs, you can actually load many of them and switch between. This is how I help decide what quantized models are going to work for me and what ones aren't, right? And B, I think it's always really useful to look through, especially when you're using quantized, because it means that we take the original model and then we fine tune it to be smaller in the parameters. And this means we lose information. Like certainly this model is worse by some measure than the original model, but I can also run it on my machine. So there's the trade-off that we have. And they usually will have somewhere down here, bunch of tips, blah, blah, blah. Read through these. But usually they have this best practices section. And that's where I always definitely look, and I have a look. What do they recommend for the parameters that I can control with Llama CPP? Usually I'll take their choice first and then I'll experiment if I have some different opinions or if I have noticed different things in my own workflows. Okay, so here I have this Llama CLI command. I have Llama CPP set up. I'm giving it the Hugging Face name. I know this one fits on my machine. I'm giving it a context size, a pretty small context size, but it's just because I'm tinkering around. I have temperature, top P, min P. I mean, literally you could chain a bunch of these, but we're going to get into why not to do that in the future. But this is just to get it working. Now, this is loading a model. It already found it in my cache. I've already used this model, obviously, numerous times. If it won't find it, what you're going to see is model not loaded in cache, gonna go get it. And go get a coffee is going to take, depending on your internet speed. Mine is at home and in Germany, so not very fast. Actually, I have heard good things about fiber in other places, but in Berlin, we do not have a lot of fiber. Okay, and then you're gonna download that model, go get yourself a coffee if you live also a place without much fiber, and then you're gonna be able to load it, and you're gonna be able to say, hey, what can you do? And you see how fast it is, right? So this is, again, is connecting over. Actually, this is on this machine, right? Obviously, because it's CLI. We'll compare it with over the local network, and it's going to give you all these things. So this is a good way. This is what I sometimes do if I'm not sure if I'm going to like a model, to just give it an initial test. You can also sometimes chat with the models on Hugging Face. So sometimes I also just do a quick back and forth there, but obviously the data is going to Hugging Face. So if I want to try something with personal data, with my data, I do it like this. Cool. And then I can, I think it's exit. Oops. Like it's not exit. I can just exit that way. There's a graceful way to exit, but I forget what. Anyways, great. So that's Llama CPP CLI. Now, if you're going to get into Llama CPP, what I actually recommend is eventually getting a configuration file. Why do this? A, it means you can serve multiple models side by side, which is one of the huge advantages compared to at least how I use VLLM, is I can say, hey, I'm doing a coding task. I don't know if I'm going to use GLM for Flash or Quen 3.535 billion. Both of these are quantized, by the way. But I don't know which one I'm going to use. I'm just going to have Llama CPP serve me both. And if mid-task I want to switch my model, I can do that, which is just magical. And sometimes I know I'm going to have a longer session and I might want to eventually use Gemma to help me think out loud. I like using Gemma for thinking, or for writing to-do lists for me from, let's say I'm about to close the project. Of course, I can have the other ones write me to-do lists, but I just feel like I have a model preference there, and that's Gemma. So your results may vary, and you may have a whole other set of models you like using. But you can see in here, I'm still giving it the Hugging Face repo. Jinja equals true means that it can use templating that I might need. So in this case, I'm using a Jinja chat template file that helps it parse things like tool calls. I have some other things here that are recommended based from Unsloth on this one. And you notice here I have Unsloth, and I've said Unsloth a lot. I've been testing out actually other quantization providers as well. So Unsloth isn't the only one in the game. It's maybe the biggest one in the quantization game, but there's many other players, and I've been trying to poke around and find, tinkerers like me and also support their quantization models. And perhaps because quantization is fine-tuning, by exploring around, you might find actually this creator of quantization models much more uses the type of data that I use. And then I promise you, the quantization will be better for you, right? Because this fine-tuning is going to be on a subset of data, and that subset of data may or may not match what it is you're trying to do. So just a tip there. Obviously, it also depends on the original model. So I have all of these things, and then what I do is, hold on, let me bring it up here for you, is I can run it as a server. So I can send in the model's preset. I can give it some sort of sleep when it's idle, right? I can put the host to 0000. That's because I want it to connect over my LAN with my other machines. So usually I turn this machine on, I log in, I run Llama server, and then I go about doing whatever it is I'm going to do with AI for the day or with models for the day. And I have my port, so I can get this set up and running. It's going to tell me what loaded models are. It's going to say the model presets, which I can use a model that I have in cache with or without my presets. So I can tinker back and forth. You can also change parameters directly in your requests if you want. So it's not usually what I do, but you can do it. And then to see that it's working, we're gonna go through this. Actually, this needs to change. We can just test it out in our command line. So before you get it working with something like Claude or something more complicated, Claude Code or something more complicated, what I want you to always do when you're first running Llama CPP server is from a different machine, you're gonna just try to call curl or wget or whatever it is that you have installed on your computer, and you're gonna try to get it to completed chat. So here I have, and I'll include this little snippet for you. I have Gemma 27, you're helpful, give me a Llama CPP checklist with a temperature. And it's gonna go, we can see here it's working. Oh, actually this model is not yet loaded. Okay, I realized I've been messing around with the Gemma models, and I'm not gonna change the token right now on video. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try out that same one with one of the models I know is working. And here we go. We can see it loaded it up. It's loading it on the GPU. It's loading 20 gigabytes, and it's already sent it back. So now we're going to look back, and here we go. I mean, it's not nice to read, right? Because I'm literally in a terminal, but here it is. We have the choices, right? It follows the OpenAI API endpoint settings. So if you've been using the OpenAI Python, or if you're using a library that uses OpenAI endpoint syntax, this can serve for you. Don't worry, it also works for Anthropic syntax, but yeah, it will give you choices. It says, here's a quick actionable Llama CPP list, compile it, check dependencies, use the Llama CLI command, make sure it's running on whatever port it is, use the Llama file project, and end. And just to give you another little sneak peek, and I'll be definitely building out a workflow for speech to text and sharing it with you all as open code and also with a video. But I just wanted to show you Whisper CPP. This is now running on my MacBook, and I'm in the repo. I've built it. I recommend, it might take some tweaking. So when I do a longer video on Whisper, I'll tell you what worked for me, and it can always change, right? But with Whisper CPP, I've built it with Core ML support. That means it's offloading everything to Core ML, which is a driver for MacBook Silicon. And this means that it will be faster, obviously. And that's why we're doing it. And I've compiled, then you have to then compile the models or generate the models so that they're kind of compliant or configurable, interworkable. Fix my English in the comments. with your core ML. So here we go. We got just the sample. And so my fellow Americans, that's not what your country can do for you. So this is all running, loading the core ML model. There it is. It runs in no time at all. And we can see it's using the metal. Yeah. Thank you, Llama CPP and GGML and Whisper CPP, because now I can run a bunch of things, not only on my MacBook, but also on my GPU machine. Final tip, be nice to your GPU. It's sleeping, you're not using it. Be nice to your computer and the environment. And whenever it shuts down, shut down your computer. So I use Wake on LAN. You can use whatever you want. Some people like have all these things running overnight that they don't need. Take a break. It's also, at the end of the day, it's better for your computer to be shut down when you're not using it, especially if it has some specialty hardware. I hope you really liked Llama CPP. I hope you get started with it. I hope you can compare it and decide for different workflows, what does VLLM do for you and how does that compare with Llama CPP? I'll definitely be also checking out SGLang, which is another one that has been growing in popularity for serving models yourself. And let me know if you get it working in the comments. Let me know how it went for you. And are you serving models with Llama CPP? Are you testing out Whisper CPP? I'd love to hear more about what you're building and what you'd like to learn. So I'll see you next week.